Well, we finally made it to the final Sam Raimi film, which is Spider-Man 3. This movie came out in 2007, and it's been like 14 years since it came out. I saw a preview about what Spider-Man 3 was going to be about, since mainly, yeah, I love the original first two Sam Raimi films. I was actually quite excited to see what Spider-Man 3 was going to be about, because I actually did see it was actually going to be quite interesting, and also I knew that it was going to be the first time we ever see Spider-Man with a new suit, which was the black symbiote suit. And I remember I got to see this one in theaters, and it was actually quite phenomenal. I mean, yeah, it was actually some moments where I actually jumped because of some moments where, yeah, quite scary, which I forgot to mention in the other two Spider-Man reviews, is that Sam Raimi also was a great director for horror films. Even though with the first Spider-Man movie, the second Spider-Man movie, you could see that he had some horror elements in these movies, because something about his work in horror movies just really fits in. And what he did with some of the horror elements in Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2 is just so great. So, there's a lot of people who are mixed with this movie. Some people like it, some people hate it, some people just think it's one of the worst Spider-Man movies out there, or some people just thought it's just okay. Where do I put myself in the category of Spider-Man 3? Do I hate it? Do I love it? Am I in the middle? Or what do I think about it? Let's talk about Spider-Man 3. So Spider-Man 3 takes place after the events of Spider-Man 2. Peter Parker is happy with his life. He's happy as Spider-Man. He's happy that he gets to still go to college, and now he has a good relationship with Mary Jane Watson, and now he's going to propose to her and get married to each other. Until little things go a little different in direction with Peter Parker. First, that Harry Osborn already knows that Peter is Spider-Man, and now he wants to get revenge on Peter. Well, he's responsible for his father's deaths, and they have a little mini battle in the beginning of the movie. But then afterwards, he gets amnesia, and then we get introduced to another villain in the movie, which is called Sandman, Flint Marko. Fast forward in the beginning, more in the movie, where he becomes the Sandman, and then Peter Parker and Aunt May realize that he was pretty much the true killer of Uncle Ben that night during the events of the first Spider-Man movie. So now Peter Parker is just, so mad and aggravated because of the fact that now he wants to go find Flint Marko in order to avenge his Uncle Ben's death. And then afterwards, something from outer space comes down and creates this symbiote suit, which was this black suited Spider-Man, which really changes Peter Parker into something that he's not. Makes him into a whole negative type of person. Like, gives him all this, makes them evil and despicable at the same time. And yeah, this movie, there's a lot to take in this movie, to be honest. I mean, this is pretty much the final Sam Raimi film. I mean, I would have loved to see the Spider-Man 4, but at least he did his best with the third one. Now, the positive things I can say about the movie is just the acting is still great from the movie. Tobey Maguire and Kristen Dunst are still the best thing about the movie. Their relationship, I just love the relationship in all the movies. I mean, the first one, I love that they get to know each other, they fall in love. The second one, well, the ending is the best thing about the movie. And the third one, I just love, and I cared about what was going to happen to them. Also, the action scenes, since this is pretty much a great action film, where to be some of the fight scenes, the final battle scenes, or even when he puts on the symbiote suit where he has to take down the Sandman, or when he's fighting Harry Osborn in that one scene in the movie. It's just so phenomenal. And also the score, even though this is not Danny Elfman, he got replaced by someone else. At least the composer of this movie did a memorable score where I like the theme for the symbiote suit, or even some of the action moments. But yeah, but if I can say something negative about the movie, it's just, like I said, there's a lot to take in about this movie. I mean, I can see why people would say this is not their favorite Spider-Man movie, and this was pretty much the letdown of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films. It's just that, yeah, there was a lot to focus on in this movie, and it's just so much to take in. And I had to study this movie throughout the whole pandemic of last year. I don't have my notes with me, but I do remember some of the notes I took about how they wanted to make this into a great Spider-Man movie, but they almost could have done it, they but thanks to Sony, they had to push a lot. They went all out for this one. I mean, bringing in Venom, which Sam Raimi originally did not want to bring Venom into the movie because of the fact that he wanted to focus on Sandman. That's it. But unfortunately, just Sony just kept, telling him, please put Venom in it, put Venom, until Sony got their wish and they got Venom in the movie. Where, a lot of people were kind of mixed with the Venom here. I mean, I'll give it that the Venom here, I mean, yeah, the look of it is horrifyingly awesome. I mean, and also for the sounds that I did not know this, that they actually got a Tasmanian devil to do the voices, the screeching and screaming noises for the Venom thing, which was actually quite phenomenal. It may not be as big as the first two, but I do love it for how it was. I mean, like I said, I had to study this movie like millions of times, during the whole pandemic, and I learned so much of what they did with this movie. And as for me, a guy who is a film major and loves movies, I learned so much from this movie. Like, I learned of what not to do and what to do when watching these movies. And I learned so much from it. I'm from balancing out the characters and try to make a good story and try not to overcrowd it with so much stuff. And I think that's why I admire about Spider-Man. And at the end of the day, I still got to give it credit for it did a good job. And for me personally, this is one movie that I liked, but a lot of people hate. I mean, yeah, there were some things that didn't work, but overall, you gotta admire from some of the stuff. I mean, the acting is great. And also, I forgot to mention Bryce Dallas Howard, who plays as Gwen Stacy here. She did a phenomenal job. I mean, I do think Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy is better, but Bryce Dallas Howard did a good job in here. And also, some of the emotional stuff is actually it actually hits me hard, the emotional stuff. I mean, would it be the moment where Peter Parker is telling Aunt May about what he has to do because, he hurt Mary Jane, that's it. And also the ending where Sandman confesses about what happened that night between him and Uncle Ben, and also the death of Harry Osborn, and the ending scene. It's just so phenomenal and emotional. Like, I can easily watch those scenes every day and I could just cry and shed a tear because of how beautiful that moment is. But at the end of the day, Spider-Man 3 is a good movie, but still has some of the issues. And definitely a movie that I liked, but other people's hate. So comment down, let me know what you think about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. And also, before I forget, if you have by any chance the collector's edition, you're in luck, because there is an extended cut version of Spider-Man 3. Just like with the second movie, there is a Spider-Man 3 editor's cut where there's an alternate version of the movie. I mean, sure, it kind of fixes some of the problems, but overall, that's just if you want to see a new take on Spider-Man 3. But yeah, overall, Spider-Man 3, it's just a good movie, but it definitely has its things. But yeah, I think that's all going to be it for the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. So all I have to say for this movie is just that thank you for a nostalgic trip from last year when the whole pandemic started into now. I haven't fell in love with these movies ever since when I was a kid, and I'm glad it was able to make me fall in love with them again with this one. From the first one, for being the masterpiece and the childhood favorite of mine. From the second one, just being one of the best comic book sequels ever. From the third one, even though they tried their best, you still gotta give them credit for something great. But now, since we're done with that version of Spider-Man, now it's time to move on from the other Spider-Man trilogy that many people would say it's one of the Spider-Man trilogies, but the Amazing Spider-Man trilogy. I can't wait to talk about this one. And get ready for that one, because I may go controversial on that one. Mainly because of the second one. But as always, have a great day.